The Honourable House Leader for the New Democratic Party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish I could follow up on that, but my question is for the Minister of Business. Mr. Speaker, my question is around the crane. As the minister would be aware, many small businesses on South Park Street and Spring Garden Road remain either closed or open and severely impacted after the crane collapsed adjacent to them. While the government quickly acted to assume responsibility for the private developer's property, the small businesses have been forced to resort to an expensive and very likely risky class action lawsuit to endeavour to recoup their losses. The business's legal counsel stated that the lawsuit was born out of the frustration that these businesses have experienced in terms of seeing no solution to the desperate economic situation they find themselves in, and I'll table that. Mr. Speaker, will the minister please explain what support is available through his department for the many small, local business owners who face this desperate economic situation?
The Honourable Minister of Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the member for the question. Again, obviously from a business perspective, the department and just as a government who certainly has done a lot of work around the economic tools and the economic pillars of this province, we never want to see any business impacted by any events, unforeseen or otherwise. Obviously, for us, the absolute priority was with respect to public safety, to ensure that we were making the proper decisions to make sure that the crane was removed, no one was hurt, and there was minimal impact on the physical infrastructure. Obviously, again, as the member stated, there was harm done to the local businesses in that area. I did hear through media around what would happen in terms of a potential lawsuit, some of the insurance movements that were going to take place and some of the endeavours to recoup money through insurance. But certainly there's no direct incentives or anything that we can do from the Department of Business. This was about public safety, but if those businesses want to discuss that with me, my door is always open for sure. Thanks.
The Honourable Member for Dartmouth South.
Thank the Minister for that answer, and I'd be happy to arrange the meeting. Mr. Speaker, my next question is for the Minister of Transportation. Finally, the last pieces of the crane have been removed from the site 49 days after the crane's collapse, and now seems as good a time as any to step back and account for this decision. Along with the many small businesses impacted by the crane collapse, Nova Scotians are also left wondering we are the ones footing the bill. Mr. Speaker, with the safety risk now largely clear and the work mostly done, is the minister ready to reveal to the public what the final tab will be for the cleanup and who will pay it?
The Honourable Minister of Transportation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Member Roberts, for the question. And it gives me the opportunity to, where we're nearing the very final parts of the process of the crane cleanup, which we're attempting to see if there is an instance of this happening in the country before. We certainly know we haven't had it in Nova Scotia, and I am so proud of the people who stepped into the breach and took control of that situation on behalf of Nova Scotians, on behalf of those small businesses that were impacted, where there was gridlock in terms of between the various insurance companies and the legal advice that was there, and this government moved ahead and solved that problem expediently. Thank goodness we had no injuries when it happened, and no injuries or fatalities or any other issues during the cleanup. Thank you.